everybody. I wanted to talk to you about this metaphor that I made up the other day around the principle of thought. So it's a really simple metaphor, but I think it really works. If you imagine that any thought that you have is like lighting up a piece of crumpled newspaper as the beginning of building a fire. So, you know, most South Africans have built a fire before. Probably most people around the world have had the experience of building a fire. And so how do we go about building a fire? Well, we take a piece of newspaper, maybe we crumple it up and we put it at the bottom. And if we were to light this piece of newspaper, it wouldn't take long before that newspaper burns hot and fast and goes to ash. And when it goes to ash, it loses its heat and there's really nothing left to burn. And so in order to light this fire and keep it going, we have to take the newspaper and throw some twigs on it. Now this is really the thing about thought. We, as human beings, are thinkers by nature. It's the nature of a human being to think. And we're thinking, I don't know, how many thoughts a day? 100,000 thoughts a day? I don't know. And Bruce Lipton always says that we're probably thinking 90% of the thoughts that we thought yesterday and the day before and the day before, which is why we get into the habit of the same kind of experience of our lives, the same kind of thinking. But be that as it may, we're having this experience of thought. And these thoughts are coming into our mind and they're passing out of our mind. And really, if we're thinking about shampoo, it's like by the time we get down to the kitchen to write it on our shopping list, we can't remember what we were going to write anymore because it wasn't a particularly interesting thought, it wasn't a particularly sticky thought, and it passes through our brain pretty quickly, and there it is, and it's gone again. So it's like I took the idea, the thought of shampoo, I lit it up and it went, and then it burnt out, and by the time I came to my shopping list, it's gone. But if I wanted to make shampoo a stickier thought, well then I would have to have more thought around shampoo. I'd have to think buy shampoo, buy shampoo, buy shampoo. I'd have to think about shampoo and what it's going to do to my hair, or what's going to happen if I'm out of shampoo and I've got to go to the next meeting with my hair all greasy and looking disgusting. So I'm adding to that thinking. And when I add to that thinking, it's like I've taken a little twig and I've put it on the fire. So thought by nature is very transitory. It comes in one side of our brain and goes out the other side. But if we start to take that thought and we pick it up and we start adding to it and we start building a little bit more heat on that thought by adding some twigs, then that thought is a little stickier, it stays around longer, and it has more impact on our experience of life. So some thoughts like shampoo are not very sticky, they come and they go. And some thoughts like thoughts about rejection or fear-based thoughts or thoughts about our own self-worth and our self-esteem, they're a lot stickier than the thought about what shampoo do I have to buy. But the thing about it is that in essence, it's still just a thought. And we don't really realize that. So when we take a thought about whether we're good enough and we start working that thought, we've taken the little piece of newspaper, we've lit it up and we've added twigs. Now if I'm in awareness and I see that I've added twigs, they too will burn down pretty quickly. And that feeling that went with the thought of being not good enough, not being acceptable, will burn away pretty quickly. And before I know it, my intrinsic well-being will return and I'll be okay again. But if I keep feeding the twigs and then add a little log, it's going to burn hotter and longer. And when I'm done with adding the log and I add another log and I add half a tree trunk, it's going to burn hotter and longer. And this is how we take a single thought that just goes whoop, like a little brain fart through our minds, and we turn it into something that consumes us. And we turn it into something that creates really poor quality thinking and really poor quality feeling in our lives and sits in us and makes itself feel really real to us because we're feeding the fire. So there's nothing to do in the quality of three principles. There's really nothing to do. All we have to do is notice that we've lit the newspaper and let it burn out without throwing any sticks on it. Or notice that we've lit the newspaper and thrown some dry twigs on it and let them burn out without throwing a log on it. Or, heaven forbid, notice we've thrown, you know what I'm talking about. So that's my feeling on thought, my metaphor for how thought works to create something really big in our lives. Have a gorgeous day. If you'd like more from me, www.cloud-9.co.za, or check out my YouTube channel, Angela Hardy Cloud9. Have a gorgeous one. Bye!